Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. I love numerology. Okay, but this is where we actualize self love with the use of words and scriptural references. Now, talk about scriptural references. I'm just going to do a little bite-sized presentation on Moses. I know I have touched on him before, and I know there is so much more, but it's just to draw your attention that all the stories have an angle, let's put it this way, an angle that really pivots our attention if we allow ourselves to be open to that it is all about the third eye. Now, it's not to say that other things are not relevant, but there is a fundamental story in all the biblical stories, or fundamental lesson or teaching in all those stories that leads to the third eye. Okay, so let's look at Moses. I have done this with Paul. I just did that with Paul, and it's not that I have covered all the story, but it's the bite size of the essence of who these characters are. There we are, 4, 6, 1, 5, 1. So basically, like Paul, something had happened, and of course there was sadness, and like Paul, as I say, on the road to Damascus, Paul in the Bible, of course, he had some kind of encounter. I don't remember altogether what it was, but he became blind, and afterwards, of course, God delivered him and he was saved, so to speak, but he became 5. So Paul was 8, and then he became 5. But that's what Mother Eve is talking about, really, where Mother Eve is talking about how to eat of the fruit, which is number 8. Of course, this is how she ate of the fruit, and this is how she's showing us about eating the whole fruit, meaning having this introspection, going through everything that is necessary to opening your third eye. Of course, the mouth is central to all of that. Maybe you need to confess what you need to do. Maybe you need to acknowledge the power of your mouth, or acknowledge how to have to discipline your mouth, whatever it is. But this is where Mother Eve calls the 5th dimension and the 8th dimension one and the same. Now, as I say, this drawing was like this for quite some time, but when Mother Eve was saying to me that the 5th dimension was the same as the 8th dimension, I was wondering, well, why? And then Mother Eve has a way of just expressing herself. It's like I'll be doing something and a pen drops down on the floor and I pick it up. Now I know about that. And if the pen drops, and I'll say, well, what is it do you want me to see? What am I meant to see here? And so then it will show up. So that's Mother Eve's way of communicating. It could be anything like that. So back to Moses here. So just to show you, of course, and Moses now, of course, he met with God. He met with God. When we do the numerical value for God, God equals 17. So this is 7, 6, 4. When we add this together is 17. Of course, 1 plus 7 is 8. That's the 8 that sets everything. Everything is like whole. It was like a cake, and you just put everything in there. Of course, that's what it is. And we can see with the motion of our hands how it happens, that it's the whole. It is a whole, but it's that twisted kind of whole. Okay, now let's add this up. So this is 10. This is 16 and 1, 17. So here we see Moses is in direct correlation with God. Of course, he met with God. You cannot meet God from a different place from where God is. If you meet with God, you meet with him on that kind of level. So this is why you have to eat. 8 is 8. So when you eat of the fruit, you meet with God. When you having ate of the fruit, you meet with God. And this is what it was for Eve in the Garden of Eden. Of course, she met with God, and this is where there was the calling, just like Moses were on the Mount Sinai. So there we are. What happened after Moses met with God? And he went down the mount to the children of Israel. Of course, God had given him a set of commandments. I think they were on one tablet, or or wherever he had written the commandments. But what happened is that he was so disappointed with the children of Israel that he smashed the tablet in two. So he broke, B-R-O-K-E. He broke the tablet. We see here, there is the bee here. This is something that coincides with the story of Paul, which I have just mentioned. There's a bee here as well. Now, I want people to really pay attention to this. Moses broke the tablet. Paul was blinded. Okay. And Christ broke bread. So we can see already with what my recollection now of these three stories, they all have something in common right here. The bee. Well, blind, broke, and of course, yes, two broke and a blind. Okay. That would coincide with the story of blind Lazarus as well. So this is where we are seeing that the bee carries a very profound element. This is where transformation happens. Things gets germinated in there, and transformation happens. So, but the other part of what I found interesting here, when Moses broke the tablets, of course, he rewrote the tablets, and they were in sets of 5. Just like with Paul, when his name had changed from Saul to Paul, he really encountered that number 5. And likewise, Moses, of course, had 2 sets of commandments. One was for the children of Israel, one for man, rather, and one for God. So there was that, and that would have, again for God, that would be 8, which is coinciding with the 8 that Moses is, and 1 would be for the man or children. I'm not sure how it is termed in the scriptures, but I'm sure it probably has a good, well, let's just look at it this way now. So that would be 9. So basically, the commandments together would be birthing newness right there. But the main point, and of course newness, is about beginning and end right here. The same would apply with the 8. Number 8, of course, would coincide with 9 likewise as beginning and end, like in the letter number 8, like on our template, has showed us that 8, the word 8 equals 8 or eat, but on the template, I, because the word I, E-Y-E, also equals 17, like it were God, but it has the spirit of sound mind, like the letter I, which equals 9. So we can see the birthing process right here. So basically, there's always a tragedy or a breaking or something that happens, and then that would really signify the eating, or the 2 dimension of 5 and 8. So thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found this fun. Do like and subscribe, and of course share. And Remember, we are the field. Right now, we are planting new seeds and spill over with love. Yes, let there be light in your presentation or in your recollection or whatever you get from this. In fact, let there be light, and there was light.